9.4, dividing rational expressions. All right, here's your warm-up, so you can go ahead and you can pause the video if you want, and you can work on those. All right, so pause now. All right, so what you have to remember about dividing is we have to do keep, change, flip with fractions. So you keep the first one just like it is, you change it to multiplication, and then you flip the second one. And then just multiply across. So 3 times 9 gives us 27. 4 times 8 is 32. That doesn't reduce. So that is our answer. All right. So number 2, again, keep, change, flip. So we're going to keep it as 7 over 8. Change that to multiplication and flip this. 32 over 21. Now this one we can simplify. Let's see, 8 and 32 are both divisible by 8. This is 1, and this is 4. And then 7 and 21 are both divisible by 7, so this becomes a 1, this becomes a 3. So on the top we have 1 times 4, which is 4. On the bottom we have 1 times 3, which is 3, and we get 4 over 3. All right. Let's see, this is like your homework from yesterday. All right. So again, what we can do is we can multiply across and then reduce. So 6 times 4 gives us 24. X times x squared gives us x cubed. 2 times 9 is 18. X times x cubed is x to the 4th power. All right. So let's see, 24 and 18, they're both divisible by 6. So divide this by 6, and it becomes a 4. Divide this by 6, and it becomes a 3. All right, and then we have 3 of the x's in the top. We have 4 of them in the bottom. So we can get rid of all 3 of these and get rid of 3 of these, and it still leaves us with 1 in the bottom. So there's our answer, 4 over 3x. All right, number 4. Here's where we got to factor. So we got our 2x. Factor 2 out of this. And we get 2 times x minus 5 times, and then we factor this out. Remember that difference of perfect squares. So x plus 5 times x minus 5 over x squared. All right, now we have it all factored out. Let's see, we can cancel out an x minus 5 with an x minus 5, a 2 with a 2, and then 1x up here, we can get rid of that one. And then we can get rid of one of these down here, so it still leaves us with an x. All right, so let's see. The only thing we have up top is x plus 5. And in the bottom, the only thing we have is an x. So that's our answer, x plus 5 over x. And that doesn't reduce, because you can't cancel out these x's, all right, because this is an x plus 5. All right, so that's what you had to remember from yesterday. All right, so now today. Again, what we're going to do is you have to remember, keep, change, flip when we're dividing. All right, so again, we keep x over 10, change to multiplication, and flip. So 25 over x squared. All right, now it becomes a multiplication problem. Now we can reduce. So we have an x up here we can get rid of, and we have 2 x's down here, so we can get rid of one of them. Leaves us with an x. And then 10 and 25, they're both divisible by 5. So this becomes a 2, and this becomes a 5. So in the top, that's a 1. So 1 times 5 is 5. 2 times x gives us 2x, and that's our answer, 5 over 2x. All right, B. Again, keep. So we keep it as x over 12. Change that to multiplication, and flip this. So now the 18's on top, and the x squared's on the bottom. And then we can reduce. We have an x in the top, we'll get rid of that one, and we have x squared, so we can get rid of one of those, leaves us with x. 12 and 18 both divisible by 6, so divide 12 by 6, we get a 2. Divide 18 by 6, we get a 3. So now on the top we have a 1 times 3, which is 3. 2 times x is 2x. So we have 3 over 2x. All right. So again, this is a lot like multiplication, which is what we already did. All right. So you have some U tries. 3 of those. All right. So you're going to do those. Actually, that's going to be your homework for tonight. That's going to be the first part of your homework. All right. And then we'll go to example 2. So example 2, again, we're going to do division. So we got to do keep, change, flip. But here we're going to factor a little bit. So 1, we're going to keep that. 3x plus 15, we can divide both of these by 3. So we put that out front. Divide that by 3, leaves us with x. Divide this by 3, and it gives us a 5. All right? Change that to multiplication. And now flip that. So now this is going to go on the top, but we can factor a 2 out. So factor the 2 out. All right? And the x now goes on the bottom. All right? So now what can we cancel out? We can cancel out an x plus 5 with an x plus 5, and I think that's it. So in the top, we got 1 times 2, which is 2. In the bottom, we have 3 times x, which is 3x. All right? And then b. Again, keep, change, flip, because it's division. All right? So 1, we can't do anything with it. 3x plus 12, we can factor a 3 out. So factor 3, divide that by 3, leaves us with x. Divide this by 3, gives us a 4. Change that to multiplication. And then flip. So now this is going to go on the top, but we can factor a 4 out. So the 4 goes out front. Divide that by 4, leaves us with x. Minus, and divide that by 4, gives us a 4. Over x. All right, so now we have it all factored out, everything where it should be. So now we cancel out. We have to cancel out the x minus 4 with the x minus 4. So on the top, we got 1 times 4, which is 4. And 3 times x, which is 3x. All right, so we get our answer, 4 over 3x. All right, C. All right, now the second one isn't a fraction, so we have to make it into a fraction, because again, we're doing division. So we're going to keep this one just like it is, except we can factor 3 out of that, right? So factor 3 out, and we get 2 minus x over 5x squared. All right? And then we change that to multiplication, and then we flip this. So now the 1's going to go on the top, and the x minus 2 has to go on the bottom. All right, so this x minus 2, we got to switch the order, all right, because we want to try to get it to look like this. So when you switch the order, the sign stays with whatever's behind it. So this becomes a negative x plus 2, because the x is negative and the 2 is positive. All right, so we almost have the same thing. We just have to factor a negative 1 out. So if we factor a negative 1 out, it gives us negative 1 times x minus 2. Now don't forget the 3 that we have. So we got 3, all right, 3 times negative 1 times x minus 2. All right, and then you can see the x minus 2 cancels out with the x minus 2. So in the top, we're left with 3 times negative 1 times 1, which gives us negative 3. And the bottom, we have 5x squared. And that's our answer. All right, so let's see that again. Again, we don't have a fraction, so we make it into a fraction. This one, let's see. We're going to factor a 4 out of it, but I think we'll factor a negative 4 out because it looks like we're going to have to change the sign. So let's just factor a negative 4 right out of that. So negative 4, all right, and that's going to leave us with 1, negative 1, because again, we're factoring out a negative 4, plus 2x, all right, over 6x squared. And then we flip this, or change that to multiplication, and flip this, so 1 over 2x minus 1. All right, so it looks like we just have to change the order of that. So negative 4, 2x minus 1, again, put the 2x in the front, the minus 1 in the back, gives us that, over 6x squared, all right, times 1 over 2x minus 1. And you see the 2x minus 1 cancels out with the 2x minus 1. The 4 and the 6 can be reduced. They're divisible by 2, so this becomes a negative 2, and this becomes a 3. Don't forget your x squared. All right, so in the top, we got a negative 2. Negative 2 times 1 gives negative 2. In the bottom, we have 3x squared times 1, which gives us 3x squared. And we have our answer. All right. So I'm going to give you these other U tries. All right. So on the next page, you have these U tries. So that's all you're doing today for homework is you're going to do these 6 U tries. So the first 3 and then the other 3. All right. And that's it.